Hey, this is Karen Allen. Welcome to my YouTube channel. It is part 4 of 5, Destabilization of a Dream. For those of you who have been checking out my YouTube channel, I have been unwell for a couple of weeks, which has delayed this installment, but thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate you being here. We are at part 4 and I'm just going to jump straight into it. If you haven't checked out the first 3 parts, please do, because it will give you the context for what I'll be speaking about today. And part 5 will also be uploaded straight after this. So please do check out all 5 parts of this 5-part series, the Destabilization of a Dream. Just to give you a brief recap, I am speaking about the fact that whenever you are on target to fulfilling and pursuing your dream, there is going to be a season of destabilization. This is where you feel as though nothing is going according to plan. You feel as though this is crazy. What's happening? A feeling of this is where your insecurities will come up, your inadequacies will come up, where you're unsure about why you're doing what you're doing. All of these things are part of the destabilization. However, that's the bad news, that these things are going to happen. The good news is that if you understand that these things are happening, when they do happen, it won't stop you from fulfilling and pursuing your dream, because the goal is the dream. That's always the goal, all right, regardless what's happening. So I talked about the dream, and I used a cycle to describe this whole process. So it starts with the fact that you have a dream, all right. Then I've got my notes here. And then you will, so I used the story of Joseph in the Bible as a framework for this revelation that I got for myself, having and still processing through this destabilization process. The story of Joseph is an excellent example of someone who had a huge dream, a world-changing dream, and whose dream was destabilized. And he had to go through this journey of destabilization before he actually lived in the manifestation of that dream. And whatever your dream is, whether it be big, small, or anything in between, if you are going to pursue a dream, especially a big dream, you will not be able to avoid one, if not all, parts of this process, because it just is what it is. So this is what happened. Joseph had a dream. If you look in the book of Genesis, I think it's from about chapter 35 towards the end, thereabouts. Joseph had a dream. Then he disclosed his dream to his brothers. So there's a period in which you will tell someone about your dream. And that's fine. There are people who say, don't tell anyone about your dream because they're haters. All of that, you're going to get haters anyway. But I think it's a good thing to disclose your dream. Let someone that you know and trust know about your dream so that they can partner with you, whether it be practically or in prayer. So Joseph discloses his dream. Then he experiences a death threat. His brothers threaten him. Who do you think you are? Why do you think you're better than us? They threaten him. All of us who are dreamers are going to have threats that come up against our dream. And it may not be individuals, it may be finances that will threaten us. You ain't got enough money to do that. It may be your past that will tell you you're not good enough for that. It could be your parents or your peers that will say to you, you're not smart enough for that. Whatever that voice looks like, it's a threat against your dream. And it's part of the destabilization process. Then Joseph was thrown into a pit, a dark place. And anyone who's ever pursued a dream before will know the feeling of being in a dark space where, I cannot believe this is happening to me right now. It's all part of the process. It's all part of the destabilization. But it is not designed to make you give up on your dream. If you understand it, you can press through it, all right? Then, and this is what we're going to be talking about today, Joseph was displaced. So he is now away from his family, away from his culture, away from everything that he knows, and he is in Potiphar's house. He is displaced. He is in a place where he has been moved from his normal position. In that place, he experiences disillusionment because he is falsely accused, something that he didn't do. It comes against his character, his integrity, and he's completely disillusioned. Like, how did I get here? And I don't know if anyone's ever asked themselves that question, like, how did I get here? How am I here right now? Like, I had this dream, I'm pursuing this dream, I'm going for this dream, and now I'm here. And nothing looks like what it looked like in the beginning. all part of the destabilization process. So Joseph is in a place where he isn't supposed to be, and he's experiencing disillusionment. Then he is put into prison for something that he didn't do. And oftentimes when you're pursuing a dream, you will go through something that does not reflect who you are as a person. It may be someone coming against your integrity, your character, maybe lies that are told on you, you being betrayed, whatever that looks like. He is now in a prison, but it's in the prison that Joseph has to make a decision. And I believe he had to make many decisions, but oftentimes it's in the place where we feel most restricted, most bound, most stuck, that we have to make some decisions. And Joseph, when you follow the story, his decision was that he will not allow his circumstance to deter or determine who he is. He didn't allow where he was to dictate or determine who he was. So he made some profound, powerful decisions in the prison, which led ultimately to his deliverance. And the deliverance was the freedom from prison to get him to the place in front of the Pharaoh, where he was now fulfilling the dream. So it was full circle. Started with a dream, ended with a dream. Because he managed to navigate through the destabilization. So today I want to talk about displacement and disillusionment, because it's all part of the process. And if you are pursuing your dream in any way, shape or form, you are going to go through a moment where you feel displaced. Now, the word displaced means the action of moving something from its actual place or position. So you should be here, but you find yourself here. You should be on top of things financially, but you find yourself in debt. You should be experiencing the love of your life in your marriage, but you're experiencing contention and confusion. Your kids should be getting straight A's, but here you are again talking about possible exclusions. Whatever that looks like, displacement is the action of moving something. So something which should be here is now somewhere else. And the fact of the matter is, when you find yourself in these positions, displacement can lead to three things I've got here. Inactivity, because you're not in the place that you should be. Ineffectiveness and inoperativeness, or you being inoperative. So you're not active the way that you should be. You're not as effective as you should be. And you're not operating in the way that you should be. Why? Because you're displaced. Where you are is not where you were, and it's not where you want to be. So in the middle, what's happening is that you now feel like, I'm not producing on the level that I used to be producing. I'm not as effective as I want to be, and I'm not operating in the spaces or in the way that I know I can be operating. This is displacement. It's all a manifestation of displacement. And I'm explaining it so that you can identify it, so that you can address it, and then hopefully push on from it, because it's part of the process. Joseph was displaced when he was in Potiphar's house. However, he was still able, whilst he was threatened with being inactive or ineffective or inoperative, he was still able to be very active, very effective, and he was still able to operate at a very high level, because he didn't allow the destabilization. Whilst everything around him may have been moving, who he was at his core never moved. It never changed. And this is what I really want to point out to you, that when your dream is being destabilized, what you've got to pay attention to is what's happening at the core of you. Where are your values at? Where are your morals at? Where are your standards at? Because if those things move, everything moves. But if those things can stay steady, then you can still be active, you can still be effective, and you can still be operative, although you are not in the place yet where you dreamt of being. Because everywhere that we find ourselves, we can still learn some really profound and powerful lessons. So displacement is part of the destabilization. That's the first thing I want to pull out today. The second thing is disillusionment. Disillusionment is the feeling of disappointment which is resulting from the discovery that something is not as good as one believed it would be. Let me say that again. Disillusionment. If you ever feel disillusioned, this is where you're feeling disappointed because you've discovered that something is not as good as you believed it to be. And this is the thing about journeying towards your dream, that oftentimes we start off with a fire and a passion and a motivation, and we're going for it. And then we realize along the way, this don't feel like how I thought it would feel. This doesn't look how I thought it would look. This is not what I expected it to be. And that's where disillusionment kicks in, because it makes you feel disappointed. Like, this is not what I thought marriage would be. This is not what I thought parenting would be. This is not what I thought starting my own business would feel like. This is not what I thought running for, whatever it is, office, or for applying for a new position. I didn't think that it would be like this. And as a result of that, feelings of disappointment kick in, and it can easily cause you to give up on the dream, because this is not what you signed up for. But it's all part of the destabilization. And if you understand that disillusionment, this feeling of disappointment, is literally it will pass. It is a passing feeling. You won't always feel that way. You won't always feel as though maybe you should not have started on this road in the beginning. You will definitely feel that, but you won't always feel that. And the key is to keep pressing, to keep moving, to keep on believing, so that you do not abort the mission, which is to achieve the dream, which is to live the dream. Because disillusionment is part of the destabilization. When you are being rejected, when you've been betrayed, when you've been let down, when people that said they would support you are no longer supporting you, when people that said they got your back, you realize that that was not the case. When those things are happening and you are disappointed and disillusioned, you still got to keep your eye on the prize, which is the dream. Because this too will pass. You're not going to stay in that place of displacement. You're not going to stay in that place of disillusionment forever. It is something that you have to pass through. And again, all of the phases that we pass through help to solidify what's going on in our core. It should help to solidify what's going on in our core, who you are at your core. Who are you really? Because when you get to dream, when you get to that place where you're manifesting your dream, or you're living in the manifestation of your dream, all of the lessons that you would have learned through the disclosure and the death threats and the dark place and the disillusionment, and all of the lessons are going to serve a purpose at the point where you are living your dream. That's why, although the destabilization feels uncomfortable and it feels horrible and it feels like it's going on forever and ever and ever, amen, it is necessary as part of your process for when you get to the place where you are living the dream. And that is the goal. So I just wanted to put that out there, that if you are, and if you are not yet, but you have been, or you're going to be, going through a season or a process in your life where your dream feels like it's out of reach, or it feels like it's never going to come to pass the way you saw it, or it feels like it's never going to be what you hoped it would be. If you're going through that, I want to encourage you that where you are at in the cycle of fulfilling your dream may be exactly where you need to be, because there are some lessons that you need to learn that are going to be beneficial in the future. So I don't want you to give up. I want you to hold on real tight, even in the midst of the storm, in the midst of the turbulence, in the midst of the crisis, in the midst of the breakdown, in the midst of wherever you find yourself. I want you to be encouraged that this too shall pass. And whilst your dream right now may be destabilized, you are en route to the manifestation of the dream ultimately. So don't give up. All right. For those of you who just jumped on today, there is part 1 to 3 that I urge you to go back and watch so that you can get the context of this 5-part series. It's just literally food for thought for those of us who are dreamers and who in the middle of pursuing a dream find ourselves destabilized. It is a word of encouragement to say, don't give up on that dream now, because what God has promised, he shall absolutely bring it to pass. Your dream is worth fighting for, so fight. All right, until next time, do check out part 5 of the destabilization of a dream, and I'm just going to continue to keep it 100 and consistent on my YouTube channel. If you haven't liked, hit like and subscribe and share, do all of the above, and do continue to spread the word about Karen Allen's YouTube channel, all right, because I'm doing my thing on here. All right, God bless you, heaven smile upon you, be great, peace out.